Imagine calling yourself progressive, but trying to prevent people from being able to exercise their own bodily autonomy. Alrighty, guys. I have only read the headlines to this one. I am uncertain of what we will uncover when we start reading it, but this is going to be an interesting episode, and probably not a good way. We're going to get the fan art first because I have a feeling this is going to be a yikes one. Trigger warning for people who may have issues with, we'll just say fetal-related things. Probably the best way to describe it. Anyways, the first piece of fan art here is from Scarlet Softpaws. They said they just got this base. It's from a person named Desiree Yu on DeviantArt. So they used the base to draw a Neko Suris. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite designs. Is just like a cute thing. So I'm not gonna say I would willingly throw money at Salem to make a version of this as a model, but I would probably willingly throw money at Salem to make a version of this as a model. With, you know, their own spin on it. You don't think that's Twitch TOS? I've shown it on Twitch before. It's fine. It's fine. The next one we have is from a user named Ryuzo. They said their progress on Lord Suris. That looks like Dio. It just looks like Dio. I feel like someone's approaching me when I look at that. The next piece we have, I want you to take a listen for. This one is from Empathetic Qubit, and it's probably really familiar. So that was a music box rendition of the ending screen music that we use on every video that was selected by Cherry. A link to the original version of that song has been in the description since it was added in. But I wanted to give a huge thank you to Empathetic Qubit. That is one of the most effort. That isn't even a way to word things. One of the most awesome pieces of fan art that has been dropped, and is a very unique type of fan art that has ever been dropped. So that was awesome. Is your arm sore now? I would imagine that their arm is probably quite sore. So as always, everyone, thank you for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in future episodes, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, this is totally not an awkward way for me to ask Salem to make that outfit for the VKS model. With that said, everybody, let's go ahead and get into the actual stuff. This stuff right here. Just a fair warning, by just reading the title, you probably know exactly what's going on here. 5 fetuses discovered in house where anti-abortion activist was saying. What the fuck? We gotta read through this. We have to actually get the context for what the hell's going on here. But sounds like an Onion article. But progressive anti-abortion uprising, where Lauren Handy serves as director of activism, said it plans a press conference about the incident next week. an incident where fetuses were discovered in their home?
It was video you saw here first on WUSA 9. Bizarre and chilling. Our crew was there yesterday as D.C. police collected 5 fetuses from inside the home of an anti-abortion rights activist. Her name, Lauren Handy. This was in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Southeast along 6th Street. Our Casey Nolan has been...
What the flying fuck? Why? Why? Like on the floor in a jar? We're gonna find out. I don't know off the top of my head. But what do you even glean from that? What's anti-abortion rights? The right to deny women abortions.
Been following new developments in this story. And Casey, there is more to this than just an investigation into why those fetuses were in that home.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. 2 separate investigations, we're told, now happening at the same time. D.C. police want to know where these fetuses came from and how they got here. And then there are federal charges for alleged crimes at an abortion clinic.
What?
For as disturbing as it may sound, this, for now police say, is evidence only of an unsolved mystery.
Yep.
Wednesday, acting on a tip, D.C. police raided this Capitol Hill apartment and found what the medical examiner confirms are the remains of 5 fetuses.
So what I want to know is how the fuck she got a hold of them. Because, okay, in one scenario, right, these could actually be her own. Like, these are miscarriages that she had and decided to keep them as a memoir. It's a macabre memoir, but a memoir nonetheless. Somehow, I don't think that that's how this story is going to shake out. Yeah, or she dug through medical waste.
What we're seeing now is those fetuses were aborted in accordance with DC law. So we are not investigating this incident along those lines. Doesn't speak anything criminal in nature right now about that, except for how they got into this house. And so we'll continue to look at that.
At the same time, for a different...
Okay, so they believe that these were aborted fetuses, and therefore they're mainly just trying to figure out how the fuck they got into a woman's home? Salem, there's nothing confusing about it. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing confusing about positions that just don't make fucking sense.
Different case, the FBI is investigating the woman who lives here, where the fetuses were found. When Lauren Handy came home to find police had just raided her apartment, she had just been indicted in federal court. Handy, a self-described anti-abortion progressive, is one of 9 people facing federal charges for conspiracy and obstructing patients and providers at a health services facility.
Imagine calling yourself progressive, but trying to prevent people from being able to exercise their own bodily autonomy.
Abortion is the most painful type of murder.
The feds say this live stream.
Abortion is the most painful type of murder? Really? Really? Do you not? How can? Okay. No. We have to stop that for just a second. Chat, we need to get macabre for a moment. Nami, I swear to fuck. Somebody just conceived of the most... Okay, we need to conceive of the most painful type of murder. 1, to show that the anti-abortion activist is wrong and an idiot. And 2, to exact on Nami Neko for paying 50,001 channel points towards forcing me to say fucking, oh, whoa. I will find you, and I will use the creativity of my chat to end you in a slow and painful way. It's like, seriously? A fucking progressive? That's behavior I expected from... Yeah, no. This is somebody who's not actually... Suris is gonna abort you. Said acute radiation poisoning is probably a bad way to die. Yeah. Probably much more painful. Any variation of a death of 1,000 cuts is probably a more painful death than being aborted before you actually have, like, nerve endings. Or any comparative conceptualization of pain. Speaking of comparative conceptualizations of pain, Terralyn, I swear to God, I am going to rip every Phyrexian implant you fantasize having out of your body. Every orifice of yours will bleed only organic tissue from this point on for forcing me to say, with 50,001 fucking channel points again, oh, whoa. Aaron Primate, thank you for redeeming your, or Aaron Primate, sorry, thank you for redeeming your points for an ada. You fucking monster. You don't know a Walking Dead stage after extreme radiation exposure seems more terrifying? Yeah. Jesus, you absolute monster. Well, I know specifically Terrelin is a fan of completion, a la Jin Cataxis Phyrexian shenanigans. So that does beg the question. You know what? Actually, before we go on, now that we're here, Phantom Ren, thank you for redeeming your points for an well. Now that we're here, I do have to ask chat and also YouTube a question. For those of you who do know Magic the Gathering, which do you think is the worst end? Being completed from the Phyrexians or being consumed by the Eldrazi? Let me know which one you think is worse. With that said, let's continue this.
Dream is evidence that Handy was leading the group when they chained themselves to the chairs and blocked the entrance at the Washington Surgery Clinic on F Street Northwest.
No one should have to experience that intimidation for trying to access health care.
Planned Parenthood of Metropolitan D.C. says they are familiar with Handy, who has faced lesser charges for previous protests.
And have been disruptive. They have harassed patients.
Handy had nothing to say to us except that people would be shocked when they found out what was in those evidence bags. The clinic where she's accused of committing the federal crimes had no comment. And today, someone at Handy's place told us they'll have a significant announcement next Tuesday, Adam.
All right, sounds like it's going to take some time before we're able to...
Jesus. Can I make a hot take? Anti-abortion activists, can we petition for it to be legal that if they want to protest outside of an abortion clinic, fine. I think they're stupid and they should stop, but fine. But can we petition a federal fund of squirt bottles so that whenever they actually go inside the building and do shit like that, you can treat them like misbehaving cats and dogs? I'm sorry. I'm at that. Not shot callers. We're not going to be inhumane. No, like just straight up, you're being a problem and a public nuisance. Squirt. I said squirt. I didn't actually use, and I literally just said squirt, and Chip was just like, no, father, never the bottle of the water. Spray them with piss? No, just water. We don't do inhumane things. Besides, there's other things and there's other chemicals in people's urine that you don't want on other people. Don't do that. Do not advocate for shit like that. Advocate for inconveniencing these people to the point where they leave. It's trespassing? No, it's not trespassing. Not really, as far as I know. I don't think abortion is near as painful as radiation poisoning. Yep. Unfortunately, we can't trust people to... Yeah, apparently, I said squirt bottles with water and half the chat is just like, dirt, can we use pee? No. Fucking... Yeah, no. Y'all are the reason we can't have nice things. None of y'all can actually be trusted. Because... No, not fuck... Okay, no. No, y'all are pushing that way too far. Squirt bottle. Water. Only squirt bottle with water. If you go any further than that, you will get timed out in the chat. Literally, the next person to go further than squirt bottle with water. Okay, catnip water is fine. Well, shit, I guess I can't use battery acid. Vinegar would burn. Vinegar would burn. Do not use it. Do you know water's liquid with 100% mortality rate? Yeah, I understand. I understand that. 2 squirt bottles? Jesus Christ, y'all are pushing it. Butterfly attractant? You mean sugar water? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm ignoring Chad now. I'm ignoring all of you. I have to. How about a squirt bottle with sparkling water? Dear God, what is... Oh my God. Anyway, none of y'all can be trusted. Y'all are all fucking children. You just look for loopholes. Yeah, DC police discovered 5 fetuses in the home of anti-abortion activists on Capitol Hill. Officers responded shortly after noon on the 400... Okay, we already know all that. Why is that popping up? Nathan Backer said, when I asked anti-abortion activist Lauren Handy what homicide detectives pulled out of her house Wednesday, she only said people will freak out when they hear Police department says it now found 5 fetuses. Apparently, they said we'll address claims surrounding the 5 deceased children found at Lauren Handy's apartment at a press conference in D.C. Don't miss it. Okay, so PAAU, is that the actual progressive activist dismantling the abortion industrial complex? Oh no. They have the actual press release up? Hold on. On March 30th, 2022, the FBI arrested and charged 9 pro-life activists under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Act for a non-violent direct action that occurred in 2020. If convicted, each of these defendants could face over 10 years in federal prison. Prior to the arrest, one of the defendants privately arranged for the Washington, D.C. Police Homicide Unit to pick up 5 recently discovered bodies of aborted babies for forensic examination. Their late gestational ages and apparent sustained injuries suggested possible violations of the Federal Partial Birth Abortion Act and the Born Alive Infants Protection Act. These babies were given to police based on the suspicion of these violations. Wait, no. That is a bullshit fucking lie. That is a bullshit fucking lie. Police pulled them out in evidence bags. And you're changing the story to, we actually delivered these children to the police so that we could take part in a further investigation about potential problems that were being had with the evil abortion clinic. Wow. Teresa Bukovac, founder and executive director of the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising, said, "We are aware that the Metropolitan Police Department has stated that they do not believe a crime has been committed against these babies under DC law. However, the laws in question are federal laws enforced by the U.S. Department of Justice. The whistleblowers who received the fetuses and the defendants arrested by the FBI are connected. A funeral mass and naming ceremony was offered for the deceased babies with their bodies present." Okay, can I just say, a naming ceremony for that shit is fucking gross. The only point of a naming ceremony is to guilt people who have had abortions. Its only purpose is to make people feel guilty by humanizing what is effectively a cluster of cells that has been yeeted out of the body. I love how even on Twitter, people are pointing out, like, fetuses were discovered by police in a raid after receiving a tip. Don't try to make yourselves out to be heroes in the bizarre story. Nothing you say is to be believed. Nice that you're giving yourself days to come up with a story. Yeah, can you imagine being part of the PR team for that? Can you imagine? And they even got questions that will be answered in the press conference. God, can you imagine being the person who's having to sit there and make the graphics for this? Just think about being that person for a second. Awkward. Poe does stuff. Thank you for redeeming your points, friend. Oh, well. Is the worst kind of fever dream ever? Yeah. Yeah, no, this is I agree. Autosenor. This is the definition of fetish fetishizing. This is gross. Is blue inedible dye okay in the water? No, you don't know what people's allergies are. You fucking hate babies by thinking has no nuance. Do these people know how common natural abortions are? No, they don't think. They don't have brains. I'm kidding. They actually do probably know. They just don't care. They just don't care. I'd say late stage. So a bit more than that. I would just associate. Might throw up now. Yeah, no, this is definitely one of those things that would cause me to be fucked up. Wait, okay. So also, can I just say this? They 9 hours ago, the PAAU posted this. Breaking. Pro-life groups discover freezer of human fetuses at the University of Washington. The American people must be made aware of the mass dehumanization of these unborn children who are violently killed and thrown into a freezer, whose body parts are then portioned out to researchers in pursuit of federal funding. So let me get this straight. If the mother wants an abortion, potential mother wants an abortion, the father is okay with the abortion, and everybody has agreed that they're just going to have the abortion. That's fine. Who cares what happens to the body? I'm serious. Who the fuck cares? Who actually cares? Now, there is a conversation to be had. When a random fucking anti-abortion activist has those bodies in their house, why the fuck do you have those bodies in your house? Whose business is it of yours? But when it comes to a university, using those for research, categorically, we are in a different area. If those bodies can either be used to fertilize the soil or in research that can benefit people going forward, my question is, why would you not choose the latter? It is idiotic to not choose the latter. The only excuse to not choose the latter is functional stupidity. Because if you choose the former, oh, well, they should just be buried, you are choosing ritual and habit over research that can actually benefit the human race. The research could benefit developing kids the parents choose to keep. Yes, it could. Which is why, again, it is only functional stupidity that can cause somebody to make a decision one over the other. Why the person who created autoplay deserves to be the first abortion. No. Autoplay is bad, and nobody ever likes it. Get rid of it. But Suris, think of all the necromancers that could use them. You know, they often say it takes a village to raise a child. But in the world of necromancy, it actually takes a child to raise a village. I think the only time it matters is in the case of a miscarriage, because the mother might want a proper burial because they feel emotionally connected. Again, there's the difference, though. If the mother has an emotional connection and wants to do that, that is one thing. But random people who have nothing to do with those decisions choosing to have burials and naming ceremonies instead of letting those pieces be used for research, there's where the functional stupidity comes in. If the childbearer's choice was for the body to be donated to research, then cool. You're still thinking about the priest who put the aborted fetus on the altar? I feel like if you do that, you probably need to be fed the fetus. I'm sorry. There are just some macabre acts that do not need to ever be encouraged. That is one of them. You know, if someone has an abortion and just wanted to give the fetus a burial and shit, yeah, it's their discretion. Where the decision sits with the childbearer, if they choose for those fetuses to be taken elsewhere instead of buried, that is their decision. There's nothing wrong with that being their decision. If random fucking people who have nothing to do with that decision cause a hullabaloo over bits and pieces of human material being used for research later on down the road instead of being put in the damn dirt, then there's where the functional stupidity shows. Like you keep saying, could have been one of pregnancies that makes this 1,000% more fucked up. So the state shouldn't be mandating funerals for aborted or miscarried fetuses. No, they shouldn't. Though I don't know situation. Oh, I guess that is a thing that would probably be forced. That is a thing some people probably do want. The idea of naming aborted fetuses sounds like Mormon vicarious baptisms. Yeah, that's You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Oh, no, I don't doubt that there are some states trying, Katini. I don't doubt that there are some states that are attempting to actually mandate funerals for aborted fetuses and other ways to guilt people for exercising the rights to their own bodies. I guess this is where I've got to throw the conversation back to people in my comments section. Let me know what you think. This feels like a very just gross situation altogether. And I feel as though organizations like the progressive grassroots activists that pretend they are progressive and then argue against women's rights I think it's just the same language as TERFs. And nothing they say needs to be taken with any consideration other than a giant salt lick. Is there room to troll pro-lifers by having naming ceremonies with names like Yeetus, Dirtnap, and Furtenhand? I believe that is actually good praxis. That one right there. With that said, though, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys want to support the channel and what I do, then there's always Patreon. If you enjoy and you haven't hit the like button, do it. Subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, all the other fun stuff. Follow over on Twitch, and as always, everyone, insert end video tagline here.